All right, well let's get into it. I think we should just start with the main event of night one, which is Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton for the undisputed WWE Championship. Listen here, if Randy Orton loses, Pat McAfee will leave the professional wrestling industry permanently, which I don't think is happening. So it's expected that we're going to get a tag match out of this. Now, it is worth noting that there has been some reporting about whether or not like Randy, he could be dealing with an injury as well. I'm still expecting him to go over here. I think the tag match, I expect Jelly Roll to be involved in this match, and I do see the title change here. But this is going to be the match that I think largely is going to dictate people's opinion of the first night. And really maybe the booking of this match is going to be the one most focused upon, because you're going to have probably involvement from McAfee, maybe Jelly Roll. I think very likely a title change. And if they can salvage like a great match out of what has been easily the most rejected storyline going into this.
I think the answer to that will be yes. They really have to, right? Like in order for people to leave the show happy. And I mean, obviously they're well aware at this point of the negative sentiment towards all of this. And so I think there will come a point in the match where essentially Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee will nullify each other, and you will get what may be presented at least as a relatively clean, match between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, which is ultimately what everybody seems to want coming out of just this mess, right? I hadn't really heard much of the Randy sort of rumors. Like what
there's a story in the Observer today, just that like he might be dealing with an injury, and that would basically be the only thing that would be a hiccup to like the stipulation is laid out as such that like I can't fathom Orton is losing this match. Like I don't see McAfee disappearing, and I don't see them putting that here. Like all signs are that they are going to do the tag match here with Jelly Roll involved with Cody, and you'd expect that for Backlash in 3 weeks' time. So, and I see Orton winning this, and obviously you get another Cody Randy match down the road at some point as well. But I think they're going to run with Randy here winning the title on the first night.
So like they could do it right the next time. Is that the premise behind another Cody?
Yeah. Then match? On Unreal, we will learn this was always supposed to be the first chapter.
That's right.
And of course it had all of its problems going into it. This was the start of the story, not the end of the story. Just like Mania was told to us after the fact last year. We weren't supposed to expect anything last year for the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I've really soured on this because I thought the Orton turn was great. And as I said earlier this week, like I thought there was a period where this one felt like they have really honed in on something. Randy felt like, regardless of the crowd still being super hot for Randy, it still felt like a really big match at the end of it. You had the built-in history, and it just felt like McAfee just torpedoed it. And I think it's just the classic, oh, well, people are talking about it. Yeah, none in a positive way. And granted, I think all WWE talent are, like, I don't think they're just completely going off for no reason. It feels like everyone has been told, like, just lean into this. Like, it's supposed to be presented as this is a horrible idea. Because I just don't believe that there are talent that are going to bury a storyline without the assurance that we're fine with that presentation of it, led by Cody here. Like, that's almost what they are selling here. He doesn't belong in this. It's a horrible storyline that they are selling you on. And I just think this has taken it down such a notch. And Randy felt so secondary last Friday to the bigger issue, which was Cody and Pat McAfee. So I think this one has really plunged for me.
They continue to want to, at least from what we have seen through Cody's promos and even Punk's promo, they want the heat to be not even necessarily on McAfee, but on TKO and Ari Emanuel in injecting this guy into the main event of WrestleMania, which I feel, was, again, is sort of a bit of a take on what The Rock did at 40. You can argue maybe what like Travis Scott was, last year. So like it almost feels like they're trying to now like tell this greater narrative of just like corporate influence on like Paul Levesque's pure vision, which the audience should, which should align perfectly with what the audience wants.
Yeah.
So like Cody has continued to allude to who is telling you, Nick, all this to, keep Pat McAfee away. So they're hinting towards, I have to think, some level of reveal. Now, whether or not that's actually
that was my next question. Is like, you really don't, like last year, everyone's expectation was, well, Dwayne Johnson's got to show up at Mania. I don't sense any of that buzz this year, but this totally is built toward some kind of reveal. And A, do you expect that? And B, if there is not some reveal, do you feel there will be a letdown among the audience like there was last year when it wasn't promised, but it was expected by the end of the Cena match?
After living through Travis Scott, I don't think anything would be that disappointing anymore. Like, I don't think audiences are expecting The Rock either, really. Now, are they a bit more confident that that could be a possibility this year?
And would he be the only person that would be? I
certainly don't see it being Ari, okay? Even though, like, they're alluding to him, maybe he'll be on camera or something. Maybe he'll be referred to even explicitly, but, like, there's no match there. At the very least,
that's what you
Rock.
think. That he's got a book coming out this year, Way. I mean,
confident and bullish about where that's going.
No, I guess you never say
with his manager in tow. I mean, that would say
he's just simply not as recognizable of a face to a wrestling audience.
We're
as The Rock,
completely
right?
talking in jest here.
But all of this is just so, to me, derailing what the story of this match should be and what they've set up previously to Pat McAfee, which is that whether or not Cody Rhodes can find the killer instinct to match Randy Orton, who is, 2009 Randy Orton at present time. They've completely taken away focus from that. So I look towards SmackDown to see if they could steer course back towards that particular storyline and whether or not that story will play itself out to give us a proper conclusion. Are we even still in the realm of discussing a possible Cody turn or anything at this point, or is that completely sailed?
No, I feel that that one is,
especially with the Jelly Roll thing. Like,
I just don't. I don't
happening.
see it, and I don't see them leaning into that at all. Mm-hmm. The one final note I'll make is that with all the references, 2009 Randy. Well, let's do the history lesson here. That in January that year, he does this angle right before the Rumble. He punts Vince McMahon's head in. And coming off that angle, Randy was the hottest guy in the industry. And he felt just electric. Wins the Rumble, and everyone's thinking, like, man, this refreshed Orton could be like, this is Orton becoming the guy. And what did they do right after that? They put him into a feud with Shane McMahon. And you talk about someone who was red hot. Shane McMahon was a fire extinguisher that just evaporated Randy Orton coming out of that, having to sell for Shane at that February pay-per-view, limped into WrestleMania with Triple H, and it was a very forgettable main event. That was 2009 Randy, and I think there's a lot of comparisons to 2026 Randy at this point. All right, so we're both leaning towards what grade do you give this build-up? I'm going to ask you grades for these. I'm going C- for this one.
I feel like you got to go. You got to go F, man. Like, it's been bad, actively bad, to the point where I think it's turned people off of not just this program, but maybe even the rest. At the very least, this night of WrestleMania, if not even the entire thing as a whole, it's just dominating way too much.
Next up is Seth Rollins against Gunther. That has the potential to be the match of either night. I think it's at least going to be in the running for that. Braun Breaker has been cleared, and I think this would be the time to bring him back. I don't think you need to wait till the night after Mania for that, but I do see Breaker involved here, and that's a way for Rollins to go off with him, and you keep Gunther on this unbeaten roll. But I really hope they get to have, like, kind of your big classic match, because that sort of feels like what this is. And dude, Rollins this is his third opponent that I'm aware of for WrestleMania. So, I mean, at least at the end of the day, this could be a really stellar match. And then you get to the bigger program for Rollins. More of a question mark what Gunther goes to after this.
Sure. Third opponent, but I would suggest maybe the best one. If we're looking at a match on paper, like, I'm probably looking forward to this match more than I would have Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed. Obviously, in terms of story, Braun Breaker would have been ideal, but nothing's, ever ideal, especially with this program. But, I think Braun Breaker being involved somehow is the expectation. It would certainly be the best staged. It would involve Braun Breaker in a significant role on the biggest show of the year. So I could see them wanting to do that rather than just to save it for the night after WrestleMania. Now, I do hope, the bulk of this match is about, as pure and as clean as I think we'd want a match like this to be. But as far as a prediction go, there's probably no other way than to just have Gunther win. He should be by year's end, like next year, he should certainly be in a WrestleMania main event, whether as champion or going forward champion. He should be your guy, the biggest threat on the entire roster for the next 5 years if they play their cards right. So I think like he has to win this one en route to what we would assume to be a Brock Lesnar match towards SummerSlam.
How do you see that one going? Like, do you see this Heyman thing ending with Gunther after WrestleMania, and where?
I think you mean like as a manager,
yes.
Proper.
Yeah,
I don't know if I see that, but obviously that would be a very interesting, pairing on television. But I mean, the direction I think everybody is predicting is Gunther versus Lesnar, and Heyman will obviously play a big role. But whether or not that is actually attached to Gunther as a manager, maybe I'm not sure. What do you think, John?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the direction is for Gunther after this. I know that, like, obviously he is going to be protected for a big match. And whether that is going for a championship this summer, whether that is... It's just tough for me to see Brock in some kind of babyface role. And the same with Gunther. Like, I think it's hard to see either of them in that type of a role. And that's the only hang up you have, I think, with that match. I guess, like... If push comes to shove, like you would see Lesnar in that babyface role, I just think that's a tougher one to pull off. But
it is, especially in light of like revelations, we could say. But
I think you can just practically throw out the Janelle Grant stuff. I think also just presenting Brock as a babyface without Heyman, I just think it's tougher to put Lesnar in there.
It hasn't been impossible. He's been a babyface. Boombox Brock, he can be friendly enough to an audience that is able to not pay attention or be like blissfully unaware of everything to do with Janelle Grant, especially in Minnesota. I feel like for a retirement match, I feel like they could push that.
Next is the Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag belts, which I guess has the remaining question mark about Nikki Bella, who is in Las Vegas, and she's been posting all these videos. She is in her walking boot, but she's on her feet. She's moving around. Like you would think like she can smoke and mirrors her way through a match with 8 people. If she's all the way there in Vegas, I mean, Bree's training hardcore for this match. So I guess you would assume SmackDown, you would get the confirmation here, but this is our match with Nia Jax and Lash Legend defending against the Bellas, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and Charlexa in Way's favorite built-up match, I think, of either night. I didn't ask you for the grade on Gunther and Rollins, but you can...
It's okay.
Yeah. This one we don't have to go through either, because...
a lot of TV time, not much heat at all. Or interest, or even backstory built to much of the competitors here. This feels like your catch-all, like, hey, everybody gets a spot on the show type of match for the division. At this point, I wouldn't even confirm like Nikki's healing. I would have her like go to the match with the knee injury, maybe even barely ankle injury, barely recovered, just as a way to add some drama to the match. I guess they are heels, which would make things a little bit odd, but still, it would add at least one memorable attribute to this team that otherwise wouldn't really have much other than them coming back. So I feel fairly confident at this point that like she'll probably be able to pull this off fine.
This is going to be Nikki playing a Dynamite Kid when they had to drop the tag belts.
Yeah,
to the Hart Foundation.
But last time I saw Brie, I was pleasantly surprised at Brie, and I have no doubt she's probably working really, really hard, to make sure like she doesn't look incompetent on a WrestleMania stage. So I'm looking forward to seeing if she might be sort of like the leader of the team by default, what she might pull off. Otherwise, Lash Legend has been a great success story in my opinion. As far as like these recent call-ups go, she's just shown incredible confidence and aptitude in this sort of monster role. I like the team with Nia Jax as a dominant pair, but I do see Bayley and Lyra emerging as victors just to kind of tell that story full circle. They're also like a very good wrestling tag team as well.
I'm the same. I think you go for just the feel good story of Bayley and Lyra winning the tag titles, and you also have the connection. Like Lyra won the belts last year and then lost them the next night with Becky. You could do something like they win it here and then they defend them successfully on Monday as well. You could play into that as well. I'm with you. I've really liked especially Lash in this team. I would say if this were not like the big show to build toward, like having like a heel team as the anchor of this division is not the worst way to go. But I think for this, I think the title switch is a fairly easy one, and Bayley getting the big win.
Yeah, that's it. I could see them retaining as well, just to give them a more dominant run. So
no hedging. Come on.
Okay. Bayley and Lara. Yes.
All right. AJ Lee, Becky Lynch for the women's intercontinental title. So like it is. AJ came back in September, and it has been very few matches that she has had. And I don't have any like knowledge of what her plans are beyond WrestleMania, but I could very well see this just being like she came back, does this run, and this could wrap it up. Like loses the belt back to Becky. Like I just don't know if she's going to be sticking around much longer. Like it's been this one singular feud she has had, and I guess it's ultimately going to come up to her because I'm sure they would want to continue this, but this one just kind of feels like the wrap up here, and I imagine that Becky ends the feud by getting the win and moving on, and then the question becomes where AJ goes after.
We have no idea what her deal is, like the length of deal or anything like that, but I have to imagine she wouldn't be done after this. Like it seems like she,
or at least goes away for a while and then comes back. Like I'm sure she is under contract for plenty of time. It's just a question of like she has not been she had the match against Lyra. Like I think she defended the belt once since she won it. It's not like she's been wrestling a whole lot in.
Did they do a Bayley match?
Maybe it's Bayley is the one I'm thinking about instead of Lyra, I think.
Well, there's simply so many matches for AJ that still feel fresh because she's been only interacting largely with Becky throughout this entire thing. So like. I think there are a lot of big matches you could build towards for AJ, whether it be for just a big edition of Raw or like a B-level pay-per-view. I'd personally be a lot more interested to see it. And
AJ loses, and then Undertaker comes out and announces AJ's going into the Hall of Fame next year, and we go full circle. Phil inducts AJ Lee in Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know, like Becky winning the championship again. I just that feels so tired at this point, John. Like a Becky Lynch IC title run, I'm not as interested as I would be with AJ Lee facing a number of fresh opponents with the championship, even with infrequent appearances.
I would prefer a Becky like babyface shift at this point. She's a really good heel, but she's a way better babyface to me. Like to me, she is a top tier babyface, but they've gotten so far away from that. I think that would be a bit of a refresh. But we'll see. What about just like match quality, like expectation? Like certainly Becky is the one kind of leading this whole thing. I think we have seen like AJ has come back and she kind of has this double whammy. It's like she's been gone for so long, so she's coming back after a decade away. On top of that,
in a period of incredible advancement in the division,
an incredible advancement, and she also like had this, like she garnered this reputation as like this great worker of the Divas era. That was like, I like it's not a slight towards AJ, but it was just like she was the best of the bunch, or I wouldn't even qualify her as like the best of the bunch in the Divas era, but she came with that reputation when she returned as well. So it's like you're almost having to ascend to this kind of imaginary expectation level on top of it.
She's one of the few serious wrestlers in a maybe era of models, you could perhaps say. But I do think she's worked hard to like at least figure out what her thing is, what makes her unique, what makes her compelling in this modern era. And I'm sensing a lot more technical wrestling from her. I have no doubt they'll have worked a match out together. They've wrestled like, plenty of times together now, but like for this iteration on the biggest stage, I have no doubt they'll have worked everything out down to the minute detail to create something very compelling, on the night of. So I have high expectations for it, actually.
Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan. I am going to give a letter grade for this one. This has been an A. I think this has been a great build-up that they have had, and more when WWE has these long runways to build up matches, I find that is kind of their Achilles heel, where they just lose steam over time or they just run into a wall and lack creativity. I've never felt that throughout any of the weeks between these two. They have not had to do any like matches, tag matches to get here. They've just done they've naturally increased the intensity of the promos, where it went from I'm picking you to going after Vaquer's mother, and say whatever you will about the comments about growing up in mud huts and stuff, but they have tried to make this like Liv is just this despicable villain that looks down on Vaquer. They have the philosophical differences of one coming from the independents, and Liv just raised up in the performance center as well. It was unfortunate, the head cracking that they had, but you have to also look at like there is a silver lining to something like that in wrestling, and the match did not get affected by it in terms of like an injury preventing this match from happening. So, and Vaquer, like her promos have just been a real positive on top of it. Liv has broken out here. I've just been really impressed with this, the build up toward this match, and I've been very happy with this build. I think both really rose to the occasion.
At this point, it almost seems unfair to make this comparison, but Stephanie Vaquer and Julia started at about the same time. And, even down in NXT, it was evident, that Vaquer was probably going to reach at least a bit more advanced in the English language, and therefore maybe feeling like a bit more of a complete package than Julia was. But on the main roster, that's just kind of, been tenfold, right? Look at what she's achieved in a year's time. For somebody who I don't know prior to this how many English promos she's actually cut, but like she knows the language well enough to be able to like sell us on a WrestleMania feud. And more importantly, I think it's her intensity and her body language and the writing that's been supporting it that's allowed her to feel like a very compelling champion heading into WrestleMania. So they've done exceedingly well. They haven't even needed to rely on Dom throughout the build like I thought they would at the start of it. Liv Morgan, she's another one that, we've seen her grow up basically over like 10 years or something. And her confidence from where she started through the Riot Squad and the Blue Tongue and all that to now what feels like a fully evolved form of her, fully, completely understanding how to be a wrestling character. Like acting is stronger now. Her intensity in that final pull apart was, I thought, outstanding. She feels right now very complete, and to me, very ready for this championship run. We'll see how the match turns out. She's in the ring with one of the best, in the entire company, in Stephanie Vaquer. So my expectations are pretty high for this as well. But I'm going with Liv Morgan.
Yeah, I could. Like this one to me is just a toss up of where you want to take this, because you could see the natural, like Liv Morgan does feel like she has evolved to become kind of the main character of this division, at least on the Raw side. Raquel is kind of in the background, and I could see the idea that Vaquer gets by this one and then she defends against Raquel, and that eventually I feel you will get the spinoff of Liv and Raquel. I just don't know. I hope they flesh that one out. I don't think that should be an immediate.
Roxanne is also in play now. I don't know the status of like whether or not there's a concussion protocol or anything like that, but I would fully expect her and Raquel to play a role in the match.
That's very likely here. So I could really see this one going either way of where you want to go, but certainly Liv is doing, I think, the best work of her career, and like Vaquer as well. Like it doesn't feel like you need to switch this belt, but I could certainly see Vaquer still attached with the Judgment Day, because you have a lot of other stories to tell, and then eventually you would expect like the implosion of the three women within Judgment Day.
Yeah, I'm certainly expecting the two women in the Judgment Day. I might expect the Dominic Mysterio run in as well, because he's not wrestling until night 2. Right,
that's right. And then we go to the ESPN2 portion. Let's start with the unsanctioned match between Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. So I believe Drew has a movie coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Jacob Fatu, there was a point where you could have imagined this guy like headlining one of the nights of WrestleMania. Like this guy in an alternate universe could have won the Royal Rumble. How would you look at this? This is almost like the consolation prize program of
the bronze medal
WrestleMania
game
this year. Like Drew was scheduled to face Cody at one point as well. So, I mean, these two are, probably not in the positions that they aspired to be in for this year, but they have tried to make this a really personal, intense rivalry. And what do you expect that we get out of this? And
now you got me wondering if like a Pat McAfee Drew McIntyre pairing might have been any better than
oh god,
Pat McAfee and Randy Orton with this Cody Rhodes thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's happy he's not a part of this whole mess. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Like in Jacob Fatu's case, I kind of feel like the whatever teeth thing he had done, like whatever tooth injury he had, I like that to me did kind of derail a lot of that momentum that he was building throughout the end of the last year. But I would still say, like, look at his incredible advancement over the past year. What did he debut? What did he do?
2023?
Was it 2023?
24, I believe.
24. Okay. So I mean, he's barely like a year into this, and like he's already like like this hot, right? So
he should be like one of their main players this year and beyond. Like I would expect him to be earmarked for a big role next year, and I think getting a win here would be, like Drew is all. I don't want to say Drew is bulletproof. He's not, and I could argue like they have beaten this guy quite a lot of times and kind of got the rug yanked out from under him when I thought he did a great role as champion. They just fell into the trap of like Cody and Drew being, Cody and Randy on its face. That was the more compelling program of the two. I don't know if I'm saying that today, but it was when they made that shift.
Drew is incredibly talented. We've all seen that. But he's not the level of star yet that Randy Orton might be to perhaps a mainstream audience. And I think doing projects like a movie, getting some sort of success in Hollywood might be his way of trying to get to a Randy Orton level or whatever you want to call it, Roman Reigns, status. Like that's what's going to advance him more so than another feud with Damian Priest or something like that. But at present time, he's just kind of beneath the cusp of that. And as far as like this program goes, I think they've had great physicality, especially like considering. Well, like what the fuck? Like they still haven't revealed this like who attacked Jacob Fatu thing, like. But I imagine they're going to pick that back up after WrestleMania. Could that?
I bet it was Cameron. It was Cameron.
Could that reveal itself in the match? Because this is unsanctioned, therefore, like you could have run-ins. Could some shenanigans cause Jacob Fatu to lose this one?
Maybe they go. That's a post-Mania program and sends Jacob into like whoever is behind this. I'm expecting Jacob to throw Drew McIntyre off the stadium roof, and that's how he wins. Sends him off to his next film project. And you do. I could see some big, given the stip, doing some big stunt that you're going to have a big television audience for. That will be maybe border on ludicrous. I could totally see that in a match.
Maybe that's who shows up.
Ludicrous. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's
The Rock knows him.
Is he? Who's he represented by? We need to go through like the talent
WME,
lists and then look at our potential options here. So,
so who are you going with, Jacob Fatu or
Fatu? Yeah,
I think I'm going to go with Drew.
Okay. 6-man tag, The Vision, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, IShowSpeed against the Usos and LA Knight. Cameron to be determined. Who else will be showing up? All to be found out on ESPN2.
How the fuck would Cameron figure into all of this? I'm just trying to think. Like,
dude, I have no idea. I don't know. He's feuding with Jey Uso. That's all we know.
I like this comment here. It's me. RC says, if Jules Santana doesn't show up, what are we even doing here? He also says something about WWE is entrenched in the Unk demo. Which they're entrenched in, I guess, some combination of IShowSpeed, Logan Paul streamer, and also the 90s hip hop demo as well. Yeah,
it's a wide range of. Can I just give a sidebar? You're familiar with Africa Bambaataa just died?
I didn't know he just died. Wow,
he just died, and like I listened to his stuff. I was not aware of the allegations against this man towards the over the last 10 years of alleged child sexual abuse, and I was like, oh god.
Wow.
But that one, I was like completely oblivious to this. I have like some of his songs on my phone, and I heard he died. I was like, oh man, that's too bad. And then it's like the dark side of Africa Bombata. I was like, oh god, yeah. You really got to do your research on everyone you're listening to, I guess.
Yes, you do.
But he will not be appearing at WrestleMania. So now, as I completely took us off the road here, back to this
speed.
Yeah, what do you expect? I mean, this is almost like
okay. As much as we hate, I don't know how about you, but like as much as maybe there might be a turn off towards celebrity involvement at this point, I think this will be over huge in front of the live crowd. This will be the first match of the night. This is entire thing.
This is marketing on ESPN2, getting celebrities involved. I think this is the easy, just put the baby faces over type of match, and I think that's it. Get some celebrities involved. IShowSpeed does something nuts. Logan Paul does something nuts. You're going to have the big Usos entrance through a stadium. Maybe something unique with LA Knight joining them or something like that. Like, this is going to be all about... Remember, this is the first match of the whole weekend that they're seeing, and it's just selling the spectacle of Mania. Celebrities, big spots, and hopefully a really hot crowd to start off the show and sell people on the 2 nights. So this is really your commercial for WrestleMania. That's how I view this.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I think the audience will be like really, 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 really vocal for everything here. I think there's just like some spectacle to seeing like somebody not from this world be in a wrestling ring in a competitive match with a Jey Uso or LA Knight. And I think IShowSpeed will be a lot of fun doing the whole cat and mouse thing, you know, being the reluctant guy in there. Who takes the pin?
Theory. Yeah, I get no, you know what? It could be Speed. It could be Speed. Yeah. LA Knight pinning Speed and getting his revenge. I could see that. And he takes some crazy blunt force trauma.
Yeah, of course. And then you know, Usos versus
this is the match Braun Breaker should return in and spear IShowSpeed.
Oh boy, Vision versus Usos rematch, maybe.
Yeah, you could do that. That could be a backlash match.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
So there you go. That is the first night of WrestleMania. It is WrestleMania month at postwrestling.com. Wei Ting and John Pollock go live all WrestleMania week beginning Monday, April the 13th. Sign up for the Post Wrestling Cafe and you will get live shows all week long leading into our coverage that weekend of WrestleMania 42. This month, we're also bringing you reviews of Spring Break 2 from New Orleans in 2018 and a special Patrons Pick edition of Rewind Away. Sign up now at postwrestlingcafe.com, and this month, new subscribers get 50% off for the first month. Head on over to postwrestlingcafe.com.